We have over 300,000 uninsured Nevadans, and across America, it's incredible. And of course, there's being some changes being done with the health care and who's going to get the health care and whatnot. But here's the biggest problem that I see. I'm a certified insurance broker, and what I'm talking about is when folks who can afford insurance and they want to get insurance and they go to the insurance company, and then for whatever reason, if they've got a pre-existing condition, it gets completely wiped out. And we're talking about children, we're talking about adults, and with the baby boomers getting older, it's getting to be a serious problem, and I'd like to know what you folks are going to do about it. Thank you.
Again, my name is Kenneth Wigner. Do I still get to Congresswoman Berkeley? I know you have to go. If you'd like to answer first.
Actually, and with all due respect, there are 600,000 Nevadans with no health insurance. 600,000. We have the highest number of uninsured people in the United States of America, right here in the great state of Nevada. There are 26,000 people in my congressional district that have a pre-existing condition that absolutely cannot get insured. I am hoping that the legislation that was passed, the health care reform bill, will in fact, and that was one of the most important things in that bill, is allow those people that have a pre-existing condition to get health care insurance that the insurance companies simply cannot deny. And with that, thank you. I'll be glad to come back anytime. This has been spectacular, and anytime you guys want to get together, you just give me a heads up. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
To answer the question on health care, I just finished reading the health care bill. I mean, I started it weeks ago. Again, my name is Kenneth Wigner. Didn't mean to be rude, Congressman. Again, my name is Kenneth Wigner. I just now finished reading the health care bill. I read it every night for about 2.5 hours until it put me to sleep. There were actually 4 really good things in there. I mean, brilliant things. My kid goes to college, and then I get to keep her on my health care long after her junior or senior year in college. But then I read 212 things that made me want to throw up. It's so bad if you read it, or just read parts of it. I circled 212 things. I'll gladly get you copies of what I circled. This thing about the IRS agents, the thing, how is that going to help anybody? We have homeless vets that need help now. I just talked to veterans the other night that couldn't get VA medical treatment because they say they make too much money. And let me tell you something, they were on unemployment. One guy was laid off for over a year, and the government said he's making too much money. We made a promise to our veterans and to Americans. You know, we need to take care of Americans and our veterans first. Again, my name is Kenneth Wigner.
Ed Klaproth. Well, for one thing, one of the best ways to get some health coverage back is get people working. I mean, we really have to have the job so they get the coverage. Another thing, you can see on my website, edklaproth.org, there's so many ideas I have with this. Many of my colleagues probably have the same thing: buy across state lines, make insurance, allow individuals to pool together. So, and also, though, to make sure that when you do have health insurance, oh, you have a pre-existing condition, we can drop you. But as far as I know, that's breach of contract. You know, where are the rights of the person for that? We really need to address that. As far as veteran care goes, and one thing I would like to say is under my program, veterans will be able to collect their Social Security benefits. Many of you are vested and yet get none because of some arcane formula. Also, that it be tax-free, and that we start raising. That also active duty personnel receive no free from income tax. They're among the lowest paid people who work for the government, and the government hands it to them with one hand and takes it back with the other. We have to start having them have a living wage, because the U.S. military is the only part of our government that actually works.
And I agree with both gentlemen there, but I want to hammer just a little bit. Maybe this is off the question somewhat. I've dealt with insurance for 40 years as a dentist, obviously, not the medical side, but some things are medical there. But I want to talk a little bit more about this health care bill, because we have to repeal this thing. The Democrats are telling us that this is going to save us money. But the budget office is telling us this is going to cost $1 trillion. It's worse than that. We gutted $500 billion from Medicare. We cut $200 billion from what the doctors are going to get paid, which has to be put back in. We're collecting taxes for 10 years on this bill, but we're only paying out benefits for 6. Well, take the math, add it up. It's also predicated on an unemployment rate of between 5 and 6%. Those numbers are bogus. Unfortunately, our Congresswoman isn't here to defend herself, but those are bogus numbers. We have to repeal this bill. This will break the country.
Yes, David Cunningham, and with all due respect to Ms. Berkeley, she is in the same administration with our president, who we know lies quite frequently. Now, you can't take anything that the Democrats or this administration is saying for truth. To answer Don's question about how do we cover these people with pre-existing conditions, I have the solution for that. It is in, what's going on here?
Yeah, that other microphone.
What we've come up with is with our immigration reform, there's a part of that where some of those fees for this immigration will be transferred into the health care bill. Those fees then are for those people that are no longer qualified because of pre-existing conditions. You can get more details once I get it posted on the website. But right now, it's looking real good. But the thing is, I'm not talking a few fees. I'm talking about trillions. My calculator doesn't even go up that high. And this is going to make a substantial benefit for those that can't get insurance currently.
Well, we definitely need to repeal the health care bill. If the federal government can mandate that you buy insurance at their rates, at their coverage, the way they want to, or you risk going to jail because you don't pay a fine, they can make us do anything. That is completely contrary to the United States Constitution, and we've got to fight it. Now, there was a Republican plan. Sorry, I know they said there wasn't, but there was. It was real simple. You end the tort, you get some good, real live tort reform. You allow people to buy across state lines, which increases that pool, which allows people to have pre-existing conditions under certain areas, and you end up with far more options for us. Now, I add to that. I had a health savings account when I was employed at LexisNexis in New York, and it expired every year. Why the hell should that expire every year? Joseph Tatney here, by the way. Excuse me, if I worked for 20 years and I put money into that healthcare account and I never used it because I never had a catastrophic illness, I would have hundreds of thousands of dollars in there after 20 years with compounded interest, especially when you look at what's being taken out of your paycheck for Medicare, Medicaid, and stuff like that. Also, and talk about pre-existing conditions, people that want catastrophic illness. How about you allow them to take out a loan when they get a catastrophic illness that they can pay back later? There's all sorts of other options out there that are not even being considered. And just really quickly, I was an IT recruiter in Las Vegas, and now I make my living helping veterans get jobs with the federal government, writing resumes and packages for them. So I know how screwed up the hiring process is in the United States government.
Craig Lake. Congresswoman Berkeley said that the health care bill that this administration passed was not perfect, and I think it's more than not perfect, it's unconstitutional. And like Mr. Tadner said, for them to force the American people to buy a product, I believe is unconstitutional on its face. I believe in free market solutions, like many of the gentlemen on this panel. I believe we need to allow insurance companies to compete across state lines. I think we need to make these policies individual and portable, so down the road it will eliminate many of these pre-existing conditions. In the short term, we need to make allowances for people that have pre-existing conditions and get them covered. I also believe that catastrophic insurance and healthcare savings accounts should be a big part of the recovery for our country, but unfortunately in this healthcare bill that they've passed, it's all but outlawed catastrophic insurance. There's a minimum deductible that really saddles the younger generation of this country with the debt on the front end and then the debt on the back end. So they're kind of taking it both directions, and I hope to be a part of resolving that and being a voice for younger Americans that are getting the short end of the stick there. The other statement was made that we're hoping that this will resolve the problem. Well, if we pass a $1 trillion expenditure, we better do more than hope that it's going to solve the problem. Craig Lake.